All right, starting this again. We're going through the next iteration for makefiles, and this I pulled from the O2 makefiles. This is for the online student. And from O2 makefiles, I copied it to O5 makefiles, and that we're opening the makefile in here. The first thing I wanted to show you is that you can create basically a rule based on, or you can parameterize the options for a rule. So you notice up here we had print.o and simple.o. It would be pretty nice if we could have one rule that always generates an object file from a CPP file. It wouldn't have to write a rule each time. So notice up here, I'm going to create separate ones here, which has been so far okay because there's only two, but when a large project, it's going to start getting a little complicated. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Now, in this example, we did not put everything in separate directories, so I'm going to do that here, where we're going to have simple.o and print.o in a separate directory. And what this rule is saying is that if someone's asking for something in obj %.o, it relies on files that are in the source directory .cpp and the header file inside of there, and of course the obj directory needs to exist. So those are the three rules that it depends on. And then the percent, think of the percent as like a star, something fills in right here. And then GCC, the C flags. Have we done C flags yet? Oh, we haven't. So let's, we'll get to C flags in one moment. Dash warn all. Percent less than is basically saying that is the file that we want to compile up here. And then we want to output it right there. So let's see if this actually works. Maybe it doesn't. No rule to make obj simple needed by simple. It's right there. Someone is lying to me. So that one works just fine. What is the difference? We got the source right there. Oh, we don't need the header file. No, that's not it. Huh, I may fail y'all today. Today is just going to be a bad day for me. All right. Oh, I know what the problem is. Simple.o was non-side of source. So of course it couldn't create it. Silly me. All right, so we'll go simple.
How could you be so foolish?
I know. Obviously, that is the problem. Yeah, so now that that's in there, wow. And then, of course, we try and compile it. It's not in there because we're not, oh, I'm sorry. It's not in there because it's not able to find this file, which of course is right here. So let's go ahead and move all the print stuff over. And there, now it's going to say it's able to make the simple, make print, because it's able to now find all those files with the header files also in the src directory. And let's see, simple.o, no such file directory. Oh, that's probably a different rule that we haven't fixed up yet. Yeah, right here. Well, that would explain it. We'll just do obj/everything inside of it. And then first declared here, multiple definitions of main. Ah. So we have simple.cpp, which has main, and then we also have print.cpp, which has, nope, that doesn't have a main. Oh, we got too many O files. Let's go ahead and remove those. Okay, well that was fun. You have simple.o, print.o, and then it finally compiled it to a simple. And there it is. Now, that seems like a little extra work, but the nice thing about this is that if I were to go into source and create, I don't know, what am I going to call molt.cpp, and I defined int mult, int a, int b, return a times b. Now if I run my makefile, it didn't pick it up because we need to just add it to here. And then after adding it right there, then it went ahead and picked it up, compiled it, and then put it all together and created another simple where we could be calling the mult. Okay? Now, of course, that's also too much work, because then we have to be adding to the end of this thing, which no one wants to do. So the way makefile, or one way you can get around doing this, and this is where makefiles are going to start getting a little complicated, but it should be pretty familiar because you're all used to coding, is that you can create a variable, and by conventions, variables should be uppercase. They don't have to be, but it's best if they stay that way. And every variable can be set to something, and you can call functions inside of makefiles, because makefiles are its own little programming language. So, and it's actually better to use this when you want to call a file. So the first one we want to call is, we'll do a wildcard src star.cpp. All right, what does that do? Well, it actually grabs all the sources, or all the files, sorry, in source slash star.cpp. So all of them are going to be in there. Like all the files, so the src is going to be that set of files. But we don't want the CPP, we want the .o, so we probably want to do an objs. And in this one, let's go, here it is, great. Wow. $ sources. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create the source, and we're going to get everything inside a source that has this version and change it over to that. In other words, inside the sources, every file in there, that's source slash something.cpp, change it to obj, whatever it's called again, .o. All right? The point of this is now we can just do this. We'll do a make clean, make, and it copied all, ooh, multiple def. Because there's multiple definitions. By the way, do y'all know what this error means? I just realized I went on autopilot and just assumed y'all knew what this meant. Yes, what is it? I'll put it up here.
That simple error? I know the multiple
Yeah.
definition of main error because I actually ran into that while making my own files. That if you have multiple mains in any of your objects, they overlap and override each other. And
The compiler doesn't know which main to run.
yeah,
Right, there can only be one main. Right, there's got to be one entry point into your program, not multiple inside of, well, when your program begins. So if there's more than one main, the compiler will not link it together. So I think I put one in here. Oh, that's that one. Let's go and just delete that because we don't need it. Do make clean, make it again, and hey, look, there it is. Now this is even better because if we do division.cpp, and I type in make, knows that it automatically picked up the file, compiled it, and put it together for you. Wasn't that nice of it? All right. Now, as beforehand, let's jump back to, we did some testing, right? 04-testing. Or we didn't do any testing. Oh, it's 04-csx tested. All right, if you recall here, we had our tests, and we had maybe a simple test that may look like something like that. And it looks like we also had a makefile. Great. So we can have a makefile to run these tests. All right. Well, let's go ahead and copy a bunch of that stuff over so we can see how that all glues together. First, we'll copy the test directory over, and then we'll edit the makefile. We'll grab that, and then we'll open up our makefile. We'll put it down here. We're going to delete that rule. All right, simple.test. Okay, and we'll have it rely on OBJS. All right, so what did I do here? Just to recap, if you look under test, I copied the old test, which was really simple.test and empty.test. The runner's just there for convenience. Inside the makefile, if we want to run the simple test, we have to get all the OBJs. We're going to create it right here. We probably should include all the OBJs, so if we want to test something we have, we can test it right in there. Go ahead and create the test runner, including the source, and then go ahead and run it. How are we doing? Is this going to work?
Certainly try.
We can certainly try. Why not? Are you optimistic?
No.
No. Nice. Never optimistic. Oh, well that ran. Well, let's do the simple test though. Whoa!
I'm hopefully pessimistic.
Oh, this is actually not the... Well, it was supposed to error out. I did not expect this one to happen. Oh. You want to put the OBJs with the compiler, not with the CSX test gen. Otherwise, it's not going to work. There we go. All right. Hey, look. Does that error look familiar? Where are the two mains? If I do a grep for main inside of test, oops, let's do a -r so it's recursively. Ooh, it's in runner.cpp. But is that our code? That's not our code. If I do a grep for main inside of source, it's there as well. So where are these two mains coming from? One's the one we wrote, and the other runner.cpp is coming from the CSX test gen. So unfortunately for these test cases to be nice, we're going to have to come up with a nice way to compile everything without having too many competing mains. So open up the makefile. There are different ways to do this. The simplest way I have found to do this is I'm going to go into our source directory, and I think simple.cpp is the one with main. What I do is, by convention, I have the main be main.cpp. That way we know what file is main. And usually our main file is very simple. Let me do a make clean first. Then I'm going to set a good old variable to be what that file is. So I'm saying here main is going to be this main.cpp. So what we want sources to actually be are all the source code, all the source files that's not main. That way we can choose to compile it with the main we have, or choose to compile it with the test generator that we wish to run. An easy way to do that is inside of sources. Let's just go ahead and remove main.cpp from our list of sources, which will then nicely make our OBJSs not depend on main either, and then everything else falls through. So sources, the way we do that is we call another function called filter out main, and then the wildcard. So it's just like functions, get all the CPPs, remove main, and then move on out from there. Make simple-test, and now if we run it, it actually runs this time because we did not include our main.o. Of course, now if we run regular main, undefined reference domain, so we do have to update our final code to go ahead and include source main.cpp. And now we can do both compiling our regular program and running the test unit. All right, how are we doing? I'm kind of breezing right through this. Just a lot of little, yeah. Hopefully a lot of this will make more sense the more you use it. Lastly, before we conclude with makefiles, it is very common convention to have a C flags directory, or I'm sorry, variable, which lists all the flags you wish to pass to the compiler. Some good ones are -G for debugging and -warn all so that it'll warn you of everything. And then down here, you just use C flags inside when you're compiling everything. And we'll do a make clean, and we'll do a make, and now we're up and running. Okay. Okay, so that was a lot, I know. Recap, in makefiles, you can create variables. You can also have those variables call other functions. I've showcased how that's done. You can create a rule that's generic, so you can generically create .object files from .cpp files. Last one, and this is probably the most important one. So we automatically created different .o from .cpp. If we have multiple tests, it certainly would be nice if we could just have one rule to make each test. So let's do the same thing here. And let me see. So we still want to create the test runner, but here is where we do test, and then we do the, I think it's $@.cpp, and then over here is that's fine. So we create it there, and then we link the objects right there. So let's see if that worked. Make simple test. It was good there, and then we can make the empty test. Perfect. So now if you create a new test file under the test directory, you can just run make on that test and it'll automatically package it all together and run it for you. Hey, isn't that nice? By the way, some of y'all are probably going like, doesn't IDE do that for you? Yes. Well, now you know how it does it. All right. So, a lot of little things, but I think we're going to stick with this for now because it keeps it simple. Are there any questions over this iteration of makefiles before we go to your next lab, which is actually not necessarily late makefiles, but more about, I'm sorry, I talked over you. What was it?
This is simple.
I need to not say that word. When you've been doing this for over a decade, you're like, see guys, you just do this.
Yeah,
What's the problem?
Got it. It's all good.
It's all good.
Here
All
you
right.
are. Just typing everything down. It is.
This is how you do it. All right.
To me, at the moment.
When I was saying that this is simple, let me rephrase that. This is a compact makefile. How about that? That's the word I actually
There we go.
meant. Because we only have, 22 lines, which is good. Because I sometimes open up makefiles and they're 500 lines, and that's when you cry. Because a makefile should not be 500 lines. But ours is going to be compact, thank you. Maybe not the most simplest to read, but right now, hopefully most of it makes sense. Any questions now? Good catch, by the way, good catch.
Yeah. Without like outward context, that would be very confusing to look at.
Mm-hmm. The beginning of this course there's a lot of the chicken and egg problem because they all kind of go together. Hopefully when we go through this next lab, it'll start gelling a little more what's happening. All right, so let's go ahead and